One of the things that we have been advocating to people is that not only do we need good information, solid information to take decisions, right? But for many people who might not necessarily have $100,000 or $35,000 or $5,000 or $32,000, $25,000, okay? One thing that we do advocate is that you can start small. Start small. Make a start, keep on learning with technology, you know, and you go and grow and you expand until you become a bit more independent and have a bit more freedom in terms of energy usage, yeah? All right.
Hallam, could I ask a question?
Sure, question.
When you say start small and grow, what is the smallest unit that a house could start with?
Now, you see, whenever we talk energy, people always say, how much it can cost? Right? But then we come back to Jerry's point, okay? You have to understand what your usage capacity needs are before you can determine whether you can invest $10,000, right? Or whether you can invest $8,000 or whatever. Because then, once you know what your usage needs are, then you can start working numbers. Then you can say, well, okay, well, maybe I need to start with just at least maybe 1 or 2 panels, you know what I mean? Or maybe I just need about 4 batteries to start with. Or maybe I need this type of battery charge controller. And then we're going to need cables, and cables can be expensive, yeah? So then often you really need to work with your needs first of all before you start talking numbers.
So it goes back to Jerry's question I asked for Jerry then.
Yes.
You talk about knowing what is best in terms of your house. You can come and sort out what is pulling this amount of current and what is not and so forth. Is that something that can be done by your company?
Yes. Yeah, it can. Hallam done a little bit in it too, but yes.
You just request.
So you can do some very basic rudimentary audits, or you can do very
Tell us about both of those.
So
For
the measure, you need something to measure power consumption. And most people will not have that. But if you decide to measure power consumption, my company actually sells it in small, I would not call it expensive, but I think it's inexpensive. A meter that can measure the consumption of
I got one from that when I was free. Is that inexpensive?
You connect it to your home main power supply, and it measures the power that you consume in your entire home.
Right.
For the entire home. So here's what you do. You put this thing on your house and measure the consumption for your entire home. Then you shut off everything. Start with your fridge. And you see how much the fridge is drawing. And you go with the appliances that are normally on all the time. Most houses is a fridge. Some people have a deep freeze as well. That is always on. So you check the fridge first, then you go through all your different appliances one by one. And you write down the consumption that you see on the display. They tell you in kilowatts. So now you know
Fridge is so much.
how much each one consumes, right? Then you can go a step further. Electric Power has done this a number of years, and I think we still have access to it on their website. They give you a chart of what the average consumption of certain appliances should be. So if you look at that chart and they say a fridge should be 200 watts on average, and you check your information, you see your fridge at 400 watts, you know you got a problem. And it happens very easy. Once the seal on the fridge is compromised, it means that the fridge cycles longer than it needs to. Because when a fridge works, it got a compressor which is what's ready to pull the energy. Then it cycle, cool down the freon, shut off. Once it hits the temperature that's supposed to be at, it shuts off, and it holds that for a long period of time once the fridge is sealed properly. When you going to open the fridge off, you stand out and look at it, should I eat this or not? You listen and
No, we're going to this audit, right? We're going to the audit. We have this list. We know what every single major appliance in our home or business uses, yeah? What do we do after that?
So, then you start saying, so what size system should I have? Well, once you did that audit, now you know what your power consumption is. Now, it gets a little more complicated, but I can try to keep it as simple as possible. Although you know what all your appliances and devices consume, you don't use all of them at the same time. You don't use all of them at the same time. The only one that I said should be running all the time is the fridge. Then you got some people have the TV running all the time as well. So now you start to look at what is always on. Now, when I do an assessment for one of my clients, I actually leave one of these devices on for a week, and it measures their, what you call their power profile. They use a profile. Everybody has a profile. And for the average household where everybody goes to work during the day and come in at night, your profile will look like this. Low, peak for breakfast, making toast or whatever using electric devices. Go down, flat during the day because nobody's home. And then around 6, 5, you see it start to take back up. Then around whenever you go to sleep, 10, 11, whatever, the TV's on, you see it start to taper down. Then go back down like that again. And that's the average profile. For people who are home, it can be anything during the day. You will see the spikes depending on when they use the washing machine, turn on the microwave, all those different things. So that profile determines how you consume, and then that will give you all the fundamentals you need to determine what size system you have to